Yo, Faith, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. But let me just, because I actually tried to request a little while ago, but you didn't see it. But the lateness and the misunderstanding of the time is because you hit my husband. See, I'm the administrative one in the household. And something told me at 2 p.m. today, because he was on a flight coming back from dropping Bonnie off in Miami. So I said, let me ask him, is he sure it's 8 p.m. our time? Because Fat Joe is not in LA to my knowledge. And I'm like, that don't make sense if he's going to be on at 11 p.m. And surely enough, he hit me back and said, oh, but I had a lash appointment. And I was like, I'm going to be in my lash appointment at 5 o'clock. So
Faith, I've always dealt with you out of respect my whole life. You know, we ain't never really kicked it that much, but it's always haven't really kicked it that much out of respect, right? So now Biggie was your husband. That was my man, my brother. Stevie J, that's my brother. He's your husband. Like, so, you know, when you old school like Fat Joe, you got to go through.
Well, no, that's exactly what I said. I said, no, I know he hit Stevie because Stevie's my husband. He's a husband. He has a wife, and that's just the proper channels to go through. However, in this situation, I should have followed up.
Yo, babe, I'm honored to have you. I'm gonna be all over the place.
That's all good.
You remind me of we had a show together in like San Francisco somewhere, and when you came on, I was there to see your set, and Stevie came out first, and he was playing the guitar, some shit, and I'm just thinking, you know, I know Stevie J 20-something years, so I'm looking at him, I'm like, oh my God, this is how it's going down. He came out first, he started playing some shit, then you got like, oh my God.
You know, he loves to get the response of, you know, from people. I probably told him, wait till the second song before you do that. Nah. He's like my hype man sometimes. Hey, all the ladies.
No, that boy got your back though, like on another level, brother. Yo, Stevie.
How you doing,
What's
bro?
up, baby?
Much love. I just came in here to say what's up, man. I'm gonna go back in there and take care of the boy. You know what I'm saying? Much love to you, and I love what you're doing, man.
You look
God
good,
bless you.
man.
Success, man.
You look good, bro.
Thank you, man. Just working out and taking care of this family.
Boy.
Man, it's all good, man. You have a wonderful
love, Steve.
Love you.
Woo!
Love you, brother.
That's what I'm talking about, babe. Yo, babe.
Hey, Kay. Oh, Joe, let me tell you real quick, because she's on here. She's going to make sure. But my homegirl, one of my good girlfriends, Big Cap's wife, K Makeup, she's been telling me for a long time with your other joint. She's like, you got to go on his show. It'll be so great. So when she found out I was going to do this, she was so happy. I see her on here. So shout out K Makeup.
She's beautiful people, man.
Yes.
I've worked with her before.
Yeah.
And you know, Big Cap, you know, that's family. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Big Cap. And his wife, she's cool as hell, man.
Yeah. She got me a bad rap.
I work with her a lot.
Huh?
I've worked with her a lot.
Yeah, she spoke so highly of you, and she, you know, she was like, "Oh my God, I know you guys would do such a great interview. You got to go on his show." So, yeah, she's been trying to.
Let me start off light, Faith. COVID-19, how you been dealing with this thing?
Well, unfortunately, but fortunately, in terms of the whole quarantine thing, you know, we have a son who's on the autism spectrum. My son Ryder's 13. And so we have been dealing with a lot of legal issues with the school district for a few years. So we were kind of in the middle of our latest lawsuit, and we pulled him out of school probably 4 months before the COVID thing happened. So it didn't so much affect our household in the sense of the homeschooling thing, but with him not having his activities and stuff, we started to rent RVs like every other weekend because he likes to ride. So we'll just take him driving, you know, go drive to Arizona, drive to Vegas. You know, the Airbnb thing has been pretty popular. But aside from that, I mean, I'm pretty much a homebody. They call me Granny, actually, all my friends. I go to bed at 8 p.m. I get up at 4 or 5 a.m., you know.
It's
So
the weirdest thing because I know a bunch of artists, sex symbols, whatever, and when you really find out about them, they stay home and read books and stuff like that, and you be like, damn, I didn't know such and such is a homebody like that. So my oldest son,
the bleaching
my
fact.
oldest son, my oldest son Joey's autistic too.
Oh, you know what? I read that. I did read that somewhere.
Yeah, so
He's right.
huh?
He's an adult now, right?
He's
I did.
nonverbal and he don't walk, but he's the happiest baby in the world. He's like, to us, he's gonna always be the baby, even though he's my oldest kid.
Right.
But I feel like we get all our blessings from them.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, because it's hard for any parent that has autistic kids, regardless. But they're always happy, and we get all our blessings for them. So, you know, just so you know that I understand. You know,
Yeah, and it certainly teaches you, you know, patience if you didn't already understand that. You know, our son is verbal, but it's, you know, it's very not on the level of a 13-year-old, you know, but he is verbal. However, it's still very challenging, you know, because he's so smart and he has so much inside him. The fact that he can't fully express those things sometimes does lead to frustrations and leads to certain behaviors, which over the years, you know, we have learned to redirect or how to, you know, handle those situations. But, you know, he's a very happy kid. And I know God put me in, you know, in charge of put me in places being his mother for a reason, you know?
That's true. You know what? You know, are you in a happy place in your life right now, Faith? Because I've watched interviews in the past, and we can't even imagine the type of shit you've been through, but I've watched you in interviews and said to myself, this woman has gone through some shit. You know, I can see it. You know, I've gone through a lot of shit. You know, being Fat Joe, growing up in the hood, going through all this shit. But I've seen it in your interviews, just reading between the thing, like, you know. But are you in a happier space in your life now?
I think that the fact that, well, I know that God prepared me for whatever my path was. I mean, I didn't know I was going to end up being a recording artist, or being in the music business in this capacity. You know, I just knew I wanted to make money with my musical gift, whether that was singing in a hotel lobby or whatever. But I went through things way before I was in the industry that I know prepared me for what was to come, you know? And I think that the wisdom I have because of my experiences and because I've always kind of been thought a little bit ahead of myself and ahead of a situation, or tried to, you know, I think I'm more so blessed and more so happy because of the fact that I understand things, and I don't, you know, I'm one of those people that I fall back and watch things, and you know, I ain't got to say everything I know. I ain't got to say everything that's on your mind. You know what I mean? So yes, I'm happy about those things. I'm happy to still be here, to be alive, to be healthy, to be able to raise my son with special needs, to have someone in my life who's a support system in the way that he is, you know, regardless. I mean, we know that life itself has challenges, relationships, marriages have challenges, but to add in the factor of having 10 kids between us and a child that has special needs, you know what I'm saying? So, you know.
And a husband who's a full deck.
He's
I used to hang out with Stevie J.
Hey, listen, that's that Stevie. But listen, right, that's coming off of all of that. It was a full buffet. Not a full plate. He's a buffet.
Man, you got your hands full. Let me what I was gonna tell you, I know you definitely proud of CJ and his acting, and you know, he the young king, the young Don. Like, how do you feel as a mother watching him, you know, grow into being this young man? You know, that it looks like he got it figured out.
I must say that I've always been proud of all of my children, just in that they are, you know, considered, I guess, I don't walk out the house considering myself a celebrity, but I guess these days you can't get away from that, you know, but they grew up with me as their mom, and I think they're all very well-rounded and grounded, but that's how I am, and I don't really expect anything different. But CJ, being that he's the product of myself and Big, who is undeniably, you know, the greatest, and all the things that come with that, CJ, I've always been proud of how cool he is, you know. But like I said, that's how I am, you know. And if Big was around, that's how Big would be, because that's just, you know, we're people. And I think the fact that I raised my kids to understand what it means to be humble, humility, and not to take yourself so serious, because they had that example in me. So I'm glad that, you know, it rubbed off.
God bless, man. And you, all this happened to you so young. You know
Right.
what I mean? I mean, although we was young, we thought we knew everything, but your first album, first of all, did you know while you was making your first album that it was special, that it was going to be a classic?
That I did not know. Like I said, I didn't necessarily, it's not like I had a demo going around like an artist package trying to be an artist. When I met Puff, I was pregnant with my daughter, China. And it just so happened that her dad was a producer with this production crew from Newark called Three Boys from Newark, which Vincent Herbert was a part of. And they were working with like Christopher Williams, Albie Shore. So I was in college, you know, on an academic scholarship at Fordham, but I always sang. I was, you know, singing everywhere: weddings, funerals, bar mitzvahs, retirement parties, school, church, you know, pageants, whatever, always singing somewhere. But I had gotten into learning how to produce myself because I did a gospel record, you know, back in the day. And the guy who recorded it had a little home studio in the Bronx. So I would sneak out the window from my house in Newark, go to the studio in the Bronx, no money to get back home, get a whooping when I came back, not even realizing that the fact that this guy just taught me how to record myself and produce myself, which I never knew would serve any real purpose in life. By the time I met Puff 5 years later, I was already very proficient, you know, like I went in the booth and changed everything around, and, you know, and he immediately asked me that I want to sign to his new label. I wasn't there for that. They just needed a girl to sing on something. I was there with my baby in the lounge, you know, so things just kind of happened by way of me being around it and me already kind of having that gift and that talent, but it was more of a hobby, you know.
Yeah, you know, when I was at I'm gonna be all over the place, right? But when I was in when I went to Kim Porter's funeral, right? So Faith's already a living legend, an icon. But when I went to that funeral and you sung at that funeral, I learned a whole new respect for Faith. Like when I was there, it was your performance in that funeral was so powerful, was so beautiful, that I was sitting there like, Jesus Christ, I cannot believe I'm a fan of Faith, but I have never heard her blow like that. You went, you know, you went there on another level. Tell me what that was like singing at Kim Porter's funeral.
Well, it's to hear you say that, it made me remember those type of moments. But like, you know, in that moment, it was more of, I was very emotional, and it was more kind of in the spirit. Like, you know, I think the last funeral I sang at, well, no, I may have I know I sang at my own, but like Big's funeral, some out of body experience, you know. I was very emotional at Kim's funeral, emotional for her kids, for Puff, just, you know, and also honored to be, you know, that Puff, you know, asked me to be a part of it. But you got to remember, that's where I came from. You know, I came from church. I grew up, I sang, the first place I sang was in church at the age of 2, or, you know, 2 or 3.
Faith, let me tell you something. There's a lot of people come from church, and I heard a lot of people sing. But at that funeral, you sang so special.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Thank you, but I think that was way more just a spiritual thing, because I know it wasn't the most technically correct performance. You know, there probably was some cracks and some off notes, but I was also in the spirit and my emotions, you know, sort of kind of crying in my own way. So the fact that it came across that way, that's nothing but God.
That's crazy. Let me tell you something. Speaking of this, you get me into like rest in peace Whitney Houston. You know, one of the greatest of all time, Jersey girl. And y'all did that Heartbreak Hotel. And I don't know if it was out of love or it was out of hate, but my wife would play that shit 100 times a day. I didn't know if she was stabbing me with the voodoo doll.
Shout out Lola Milan.
Yeah, Lola Malone was stabbing me or something. Every day I come in the house 100 times. Heartbreak Hotel. I'm like, sheesh, like what's in her mind? What was it like working with Whitney, and did you really know her?
Well, it was awesome working with Whitney, because by the time we worked together, we had become friends. But her befriending me is just the most awesomest thing ever, because
I'm sure you was
Whitney Houston.
I'm sure you was in elementary singing, I believe our children are the future.
Absolutely. I sang it in a pageant one time. I mean, you know that everybody sang that song, but she made it even more special. But when Whitney Houston came up to me at my very first Clive Davis party, when I had to perform and I was so nervous, and she's walking down the hall singing the intro to my first album, I Have the Faith. And somebody was like, bitch, that's Whitney Houston. I was like, no, it ain't. And she came up to me and she was like, you dope. Oh, I'm from Jersey too, da da da. And then, you know, we would see each other in passing. And once Big passed away, she really embraced me. She started, like, you know, reaching out to me. She invited me to Donatella Versace's house. She just really embraced me. And it had nothing to do with music. We didn't even record together yet. She just kind of obviously felt that I was going through something and felt that she could, you know, lend herself to lift me up. And she was just the coolest. She was the coolest person to be around.
It's crazy because when Big Pun died, we had a funeral for him, and the whole room was just like a whole funeral. It felt like a whole funeral was just flowers from people who sent their thing. Whitney Houston sent about 6 different flowers to Big Pun, and we never met her.
Wow.
And it was the big wreaths. And rest in peace, Big Pun. I love you, Whitney Houston. Rest in peace, Big Pun. We love you, Whitney and Bobby. Like every kind of 5 or 10 flowers we walked into was another Whitney Houston.
But Whitney was so hood. You know what I mean? You know, Whitney is from Brick City. Bricks. Whitney probably knew all y'all right. That's what I'm saying. Like, Whitney
was Whitney hood? Like, when you talked to her, was it like hood? Because, you know, we look at Whitney like the body. Was she talking? Like, you know, when I met Denzel Washington for the first time, he was talking so much shit, babe. Like, I was like, Denzel? Like, you, fuck that. Y'all know what it is. I used to be up in Spanish Harlem with the Puerto Ricans. I don't give a fuck. I'm like, Denzel? Like, this is Denzel Washington? Like, I had the greatest time with him. But so Whitney was talking that shit like that?
When Whitney before we kind of really became friends, and she would come over my house and Chrissy would spend a night with China, the first time she'd see me out at like somebody's mansion party, and you know, she realized I was at a table and she might smell the weed. She always made her way over there. And she always, you know, said, I'm going to get a corner and we're going to sit. She's like, let me get away from this shit. I know I can keep it real with you. Come over here. Like, you got some weed. Like, you know, that was pretty much how we started seeing each other in public. I mean, mind you, it's not in public, but it's in public, you know. But she was like, I just want to be me, you know. Like, come on. I know you got some weed. Roll up.
And you want to know what's crazy? Because you definitely look like the homegirl that that when your girl's going through it, you the shoulder to lean on. It looks like you the one that'll tell you all their business and shit and start like.
But that's funny you say that, because my good friends be like, you give good advice, but I'm like, well, I only give it if you ask for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the type, I ain't in nobody's business. I mean, but if you ask my opinion, I'm gonna try my best to give you some good advice based on not even only my experiences, but on the objective, from an objective perspective too. I tend to like look at all the angles and stuff, But
listen, the more than obvious, I'm a versus battle groupie. No, I'm a groupie. I'm like really in the fucking comments. Like I'm like, I lose my cool on that shit because I'm a rapper / fake R&B wannabe singer. So when they get into it, Brandy and Monica, I'm with the shit, with the smoke, Patti LaBelle. I watch all of them, right? And so I'm gonna act like I'm the shade room or ball alert. Better yet, I'm ball alert. I'm watching the verses, and out of nowhere comes a comment from Hitman Stevie J.
Right.
That says,
I be telling you that now. Hey, log off, honey. Hold on.
No, leave him there. I see the comment from him on the verses come out of nowhere, and he said, fuck that. Faith Mary J. And it just went up.
I've seen that a lot. I've seen Faith this one, Faith that. I mean, that's nice to even be wanted to be seen, and I guess. But to be quite, I'm gonna be quite frank, and I know my fans and close friends are so they're like, what are you on the Instagram live, bro? Because they know I don't really do much because my hands, are always pretty full. And
well, Faith, this is the big.
This is the most time.
This is the biggest fucking show in the game, Faith. I'm not lying to you.
Right, I'm just saying. But I mean, I understand it and I appreciate and respect and very happy and proud of you for this. But in my real life, like, I got to etch out a whole bunch of time, make sure it's quiet, make sure I got the space of mind. Ain't nobody upstairs fixing nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's always something going on over here.
So what do you, so are you interested in the verses? And we don't have to say Mary J, but would you do a verses?
I'm not quite sure. Hold on. Someone.
We got interrupted.
Yeah, no, I'm not interrupting. I'm just here to let you know that I'm here to support you. If you need to do that, I hold Ryder down. I take care of the crib. I need that to happen for the culture. Shout out to Swiss Beats and Timbo.
Timberland.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, for the culture, that's amazing.
Stevie want the smoke, boy. Oh my God. Yo.
Ay. But
yo.
I'm not really. I don't know. I mean, there's so.
I love it. I'm not in no rush to do it.
I don't know. I don't see it. I don't.
No, I see it. But the thing with me is I'm a sore loser and a worse winner.
Well, see, I'm not in competition. I don't really.
There you go.
It's a competition.
So,
that's not a competition thing.
Please, I'm talking. I'm answering what he just said, my love. He wants it. Yeah. Hey.
I'm telling you, I wouldn't bring it up. Hey, listen. He know. Everybody know. Mary, my sister. I wouldn't bring it up, but I seen Stevie hit that one comment one time that floated to the top.
Oh God.
And
Because I see what Swiss and them doing. I see what Swiss and Timberland doing, and that's beautiful right now. You know what I'm saying? It's a huge.
Well, I need as a business person, I need some more details. I just need to understand what this is all about.
Celebration of the culture.
Okay.
But listen, Faith. If you're not comfortable with it,
I'm not comfortable. I've never really, even back in the day, Puff, he's the he's, it's competition. You got to, and I'm like, well, I'm not competing with nobody. I'm just doing what I do.
That's
Like,
right.
but I am happy that people see that as a sign of respect, and I'll take it. But I don't necessarily, I don't know. Why should I single myself out to pit myself against?
You're not going against
anyone.
It's just
like I just,
It's just you playing different songs. She got hits, you got hits. It's just
so a lot of people have hits. So let's all the R&B ladies be like, what do you mean? Why I gotta be us?
First of all, Stevie J might have a Teddy Riley moment. No, I'm betting. Listen, babe, I'm going to Vegas to bet that Stevie J will have a Teddy Riley moment at that motherfucker.
Oh, you know he will. He can pull out every instrument he play.
Yo, oh yes, oh yes.
Whatever you want me to do, baby, I got you.
Let's go a little bit back, Faith. Right? Well, I got you for a little bit more. The Notorious movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
The scene where the girl walks in playing Faith, and she spazzes out and goes bad in the hotel. Was that an accurate story? And if it was, was that an accurate story? I'll let you answer that.
Yes, it was very accurate. The only difference was the girl wasn't white.
Oh, the girl wasn't white?
No.
So it was a black chick in the bed, right?
She wasn't in the bed when I walked in there, but and she was fully dressed. However, the whole thing that made that happen was that big, at that time, he started going on the road very soon after we got married. He blew up right out the gate. And so I'm working on my first album. So I would sometimes fly out to see him. But every time he went and got to a hotel, he called me, let me know he was there, give me the number. Because, niggas ain't have cell phones like that then. So I had the hotel room number. So he called me this particular day and said, I'm going to let such and such stay in my suite because they got a chick. Come on. None of that sounded right. So they were right there in Hampton, Virginia. That's just like a 30-minute flight. So I immediately got to working and got me a flight and called my homegirl Cheryl and asked her to come to our apartment in Brooklyn, stay with my daughter, jumped on the flight, and yeah. Because it ain't make sense. It ain't even sound right. Like, what do you mean? You ain't about to let nobody stay in your room.
No, it don't sound. He fucked up. He fucked up.
Yeah, that wasn't.
But let me ask you a question. Thinking of the movie, did you like the girl that played you in the movie, and if not, if you would have had somebody else play Faith? What
absolutely. Shout out to Antonique Smith. The funny thing about that is, the ironic thing, I had met Antonique prior to that. She was signed to Flavor Unit Records at one time, and they managed me before. And I was going to go in the studio and write with her before. And so this is years before that. But when they mentioned her for the movie, I thought it was great because she's from Jersey like me, and I actually, at the same time, had just finished my memoir. So I got a chance to kind of let her see the early manuscript so she could see the actual stories of what happened, because it may not necessarily be, cinematically displayed in the movie because it's not my story. You understand? So I just wanted her to understand some of the backstories of what may have been portrayed in the movie. But I thought she did a great job.
All right, I did too, because I had Kim on here, and Kim absolutely hated the girl Tasha from Pop. She didn't like how she played Kim.
Oh wow, I thought she did a great job. I thought she was excellent, actually.
I like it too. I had no complaints, but
I'm not
as a journalist,
I can't say how she feels, but
as a journalist, I asked Kim, like, yo, Kim, did you like? She was like, absolutely not. I would have never picked that girl to play me.
Oh wow.
I see you in pictures and stuff, smiling with Kim and all that. Is everything like beautiful with each other?
Well, I've always adored Kim. I mean, when I first met Kim, I had no inkling of anything going on with her and Big. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't meet her in the vein of, you know, I'm this man's wife and I know you fucking him. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't.
You know, but I'm thinking every girl who has a man that got girls somehow working with him, thinks some shit is going on somehow.
But
Like,
that was never my thing. I wasn't in this industry. You know what I mean? So that wasn't my thought. Big treated me like I was very special. And, you know, that's why it was kind of shocking when I did found out. You know, I mean, obviously I found out about other women before her. But I mean, when I found out, I was shocked because I'm not stupid either. But at the same time, I didn't come into our relationship like, you know, looking over my shoulder like, what you doing? Because I really didn't have a reason to. You know, he never made me feel like that.
you know, I got a funny story for you, right? I've said it before, but it's a funny story. I was hanging out with Biggie when he was making Hypnotize. I was in the studio with him, and you had called,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't tell you what you told him, but you must have told him on the phone something like, "Yo, you in there hanging out with bitches," and you must have said whack bitches, bum bitches, crackhead looking bitches, or something like that. And he waited for you to answer that. He answered that. He said, "Yo, why they can't be model bitches?" And yo, I started dying laughing. I was an innocent bystander. He let you get your shit off, and he was like, "Well, why they can't be model bitches?" And we started dying laughing. It was crazy. You know, this guy was so charismatic. He never changed.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of the very, 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 very few rappers that I knew Biggie when he started underground. I actually gave Biggie his first show ever in history at the Fever. I booked him for a show when he had Party and Bullshit. I got the fly, everything. So we was cool ever since then. And he blew up and became number 1, 2, and 3 on Billboard. And I remember I went to a Vibe magazine party, and I was walking up, and it was mad. I had dropped my second album, and it was just like 500 people around the truck. And Big was standing up there, and I was walking over there. I was like, who that? And when I seen Biggie, myself. So everybody out there, y'all got to listen. Not everybody changed. It be your perception of the person that changed. Mm-hmm. So I looked at Biggie and I said, that nigga probably changed. And out of all 500 people, he looked over them and saw me and was like, yo, Crack, yo, Joe, yo. Same Biggie. I walk up. He got Little Kim and C's with him, right? And then he tells Little Kim in front of me, yo, what album we've been listening to all day? And she was like, your new album. And he was like, yo, my brother, I'm proud of you. And I was like, wow. Here I was, like everybody else that watches us and be having their own perception about him. I thought he changed. And the man, the same thing. He was the same guy forever to you know, to the death. And you know, you two is so iconic. Like the pictures of you and him with you laying your head on his chest and he got the black on, and like it just felt like a movie, like something that was meant to happen. For me watching from the outside in. And what was that like from going from Faith to Biggie's wife to on top of the universe? Now you walking around, you talented, classic album, but you got B.I.G. What was that like?
Well, everything happened so quickly in terms of us meeting, getting married. I mean, to kind of, I try my best to correct it every chance I get, but people say we got married, and it's kind of a legend that we got married in 7 days. That's not true. We got married closer to like 2.5 months after we met. I mean, not that that's like eons apart, but everything happened so quickly. But mind you, I was already you know, like you said, I had written on Mary's My Life album. I had written on Usher's first album, all while I was negotiating my deal with Bad Boy. So I wasn't necessarily, I even remember when we got married and people thought it was like a what do you call those things?
Like a gimmick, a stunt.
Right, exactly.
Like, hey, go
A
get me some
hoax, a
wild cherry
media
Pepsi,
thing, ploy.
please.
And I'm like, people actually do that? Like, actually, I wasn't thinking about none of that. Like, when everybody's like, y'all got to tell Puff. I'm like, well, why? Like, we grown. Like, what's the big deal? So, I mean, but it happened very quickly. And I don't think I looked at it in the sense of what it looked like to everyone else. We fell in love and we just were inclined to get married. And we did. And I don't think neither of us knew things were going to take off the way they did, like soon as
you guys is
things came out.
you guys is like John F. Kennedy and his wife. I mean, it was so iconic. Now it's the new norm for people to famous people to do this. But it was so iconic, and you killing the game. He's killing the game, and triumph turns into tragedy, meaning like, too much shit was going on. Too much shit was going on. And I know you probably tired of answering this question to everybody that answers you this question to everybody, but this is a big show. And so that one photo with Tupac, the one photo.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
With
Tupac.
Mm-hmm. Tupac. And me or Big?
You and Tupac. And it's in the middle of the whole entire shit. When I see it, I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Right? And I know you're tired of probably answering this, but this is the big show. This is probably the last time you ever got to answer this. What was that about? That was the beef on already, or that was before the beef?
Well, correction. I never have to answer it if I don't want to. However, I don't.
You ain't gotta answer it.
I don't have a problem ever.
You ain't got to answer shit.
Anything. However, when I met Tupac, I was actually in LA, trying to get work as a writer. I was out here writing with a producer in his new group and kind of staying with them in their apartment, and we just happened to go out that night to the Hollywood Athletic Club. This was like between my first and second album, and I remember this was shortly after I was told that Mary wanted her voice off of my record, which we did that song together on my first album. So I was confused. It was a lot that I didn't really know as far as the dynamics with why that happened. At that time, I do recall, and Big and I were, not in the greatest place, but I recall him they used to get like crank calls and people hanging up and stuff like that. But you gotta, back then it wasn't like now. Everything wasn't real time. So it wasn't like, if that happened, it might take a month for you to see somebody say something in a magazine, or they may not go on the radio in your city, right? You know what I'm saying? So it took a minute for things to make their rounds to kind of seem a little more believable or accurate, or or you got to hear from that the person themselves said it than today. So yeah, there were mumblings of things, but I was out here trying to do something opposite of kind of bad boy. I was trying to not be around Big because he was on some bullshit, but at the same time I was out here to make money as a writer, and that had nothing to do with Tupac whatsoever. That was really just a chance meeting at a club. Actually, Tretch, who I knew already, was with him that night, and that's who actually came and made the introduction. So
yeah, but you do know, let's call that a picture gone bad. Like I've been in a picture gone bad. Like, yeah, that's a picture gone bad. Like, and just so much like speculations, and it's just overpowering. You in this turmoil, man. It was just too much. I think with you guys, we all grew up.
Let me just interject for a moment, because you gotta, in that moment, there was no way me thinking that I met him would lead to anything. You know what I mean? Like in that moment, that was there was no reason for me to think anything further than that particular moment. You know what I'm saying?
I know, Faith, but what I'm saying, without you knowing, Tupac, rest in peace, turned that picture into the first line of the diss record.
Well, listen, I just recently found out from doing a project for TV that the photographer who took that picture was paid to make sure he got a picture with us in it together. I just found this out 20-some years later on everything. Like they said, the guy said he's had to live with that forever because once they found out I was there, he was instructed to make sure he got a photograph. But I probably would have taken the picture anyway. I called Big right away. I was like, I met your friend. You know, Big really felt like that's his homie. So I didn't feel like it was like, I'm like, I met your friend Tupac. I didn't think really anything of it like that. So until we saw these articles and things were, were actually coming to seem like they were actually a little more true, that he felt that way. Because you got to remember, Big didn't want to believe, he didn't understand. He's like, there's no way he could really think that. There's no way he could feel that way. So
yeah, and so damn, man, that was the moment in hip hop, huh? And then you gotta
a moment.
yeah.
I've had many. That's easy for you to say.
Nah, I've had my moments. I've had my moments.
I mean, that led to way more than a moment, but God built me right.
Yeah, man, because Alicia Keys came on here, and I use this line all the time. And I said, Alicia, what Grammy, what song, what money, what house, what is your greatest accomplishment? And she says, my greatest accomplishment is staying sane in this business. And this is the type of shit me and you, if we could cut through the air, this is the shit me and you talking about on here. Is staying sane.
Right.
Like, so that's why I tell you, when I started outside, look at your interviews, and I said, you've been through a lot. You know what I mean? I've been through a lot. My best friend died, my sister the same week. I went through depression for 2 months straight, seeing the therapist. Like, I know when somebody's been through a lot, and I still can't imagine it because, you were born in this game into like hip hop royalty. Like, it's hip hop royalty. And all these things happen. You lose your husband at a young age. You got to deal with all the shit that come with it, all the bullshit for years. And I really got to commend you for staying sane. No, that's real talk.
I mean, I like I said, God knew what he was doing. Because I don't, I know that, even in the not so great times, every lesson is still a blessing,
Oh, yeah, that's a fact. That's how I look at that all the time, whether it's good or bad. I always say, this is my line, my quote. It said, let your darkest moments bring your most clarity. This is a Fat Joe quote. And it's because that's when you know who your true friends are. That's when you know what you built of. That's, shit that would bother us back in the days that we've been. Now we shake that shit off like it's nothing. Like now we like, oh no, like we done did that one already. Like we like, oh no, what? They still coming with that type of shit. Like they ain't up on the new shit.
He's like, you're so nonchalant. I'm like, well, I'm just not about to waste energy and time on stuff that just don't make sense.
Nah, you're right. God is the greatest. God is the greatest. And all these years later, man, you still got a huge career. You beyond a living legend, an icon. Like I told you, I went in my own versus battle with you. You got a mean 20 clip for anybody. You're like your 20
right, thank
clip.
you.
Oh no, you got a mean.
I've never picked that 20 clip.
Oh no, I picked the 20 clip. Like, I picked the 20 clip, and I'm like, yo, she ready to give anybody the business in some shit like this. But you know, man, the music is legendary, it's iconic. Every song, you know what I'm saying? Every song, and I like songs of yours that ain't the hits. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like the album fillers. So that's that real shit. You know what I'm saying? And I've always, man, I put your 20 against just about anybody on a versus celebration of life. You know what I'm saying?
Is that 20 just Faith Evans records? Or that's not including my features.
Well, you could feature. Oh, you definitely gonna feature the One More Chance. I mean, how you not gonna do that?
I mean, you know, we talking about like your Georgie Porgies and your, you know, your How's It Going Downs, you know. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Heartbreak Hotel.
I'm just saying, I know that. Thank God, you know, that people wanted to work with me, but my features certainly helped sustain my career in probably those times that I was not about to go and make an album, but.
Well, you know what's so beautiful about the R&B genre is, like, you know, you guys live forever. And so the difference between R&B and hip hop, other than LL Cool J having Rock the Bells radio, R&B got Urban AC. So your records are playing in the radio station right now as if it came out today on the Urban AC. All day, every R&B, Frankie Beverly and Maze, this shit rocking right now, Urban AC. They acting like that shit came out yesterday out the plastic, right? But with hip hop, it's like, if you ain't popping right now, I mean, in this moment, you know, your shit is like, your shit 3 years old, your shit is like an old school, like, and they also play with rappers' money once they not like playing on the radio all day, every day. So a rapper could go from being #1 in the country, making 200,000 a show, to people playing them, promoters giving them 15 grand, 20 grand, you know, 3 years later.
See, the thing about that, I had to beg the different way, is because maybe the scale changes, but I think generally rappers get paid more per show than the average R&B artist. Now, maybe it won't last for as many years, but you know, but
I think they get that first money, that first rush. Like, God forbid what Roddy Ricch is making right now, a show. Like, you know,
I've probably never gotten that in my whole 25-year career. You understand? Like, for one show. Right.
But I still see, when the COVID is out, I still see Keith Sweat working every week. I still see Stephanie Mills working every week. I still see all our favorite artists, our R&B artists, still performing in concerts, arenas.
Wait, they at arenas now?
Yeah, they still at arenas.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I've seen like the drive-up shows and stuff like that.
Oh, no. I'm not saying. I'm saying before COVID.
Oh, before COVID.
You know, our favorite R&B legends.
Oh, yeah.
They still rocking stadiums.
Absolutely.
You know, so that's good. I'm going to let you go, Faith. I got to ask you 2 last questions. Light-hearted questions. Who are your top 5 favorite R&B singers of all time?
Say hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
Hey, what's up, man?
That's my son Ryder. Our son Ryder.
Big boy.
Yo, Ryder, what's up, man?
Say what's up.
Copier.
Computer.
Yes, come on. You want your computer?
Okay, 1 second. Go get the computer.
I got it.
Hey, Faith. That's our blessings right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's our blessings right there. You know, because people you know, I got a different story than you. You know, when little Joey was born, you want to hear some real shit? When little Joey was born, his mother and me, we wasn't even together. That was like some makeup shit. When he was born and the doctor tells us he's autistic, she looks at me and tells me, I can't raise this kid. I got to give him up for adoption.
Oh, wow.
And I'm only like 17, 18. And so my mother and father heard that, and I heard that. I was like, fuck no, that's my son. You crazy? I'll raise him. We'll raise him. And we raised Joey his whole life. No lie, his moms might have came to one birthday party in 27 years. And, you know, life is hard. You know what I'm saying? But we got to deal with whatever's thrown at us. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you smile, I smile, we think. But, you know, shit really, you know, this man I got back here, let me see if I can show you. This man, he's the #1 Southside, well, my favorite of all time.
Is
His
that
name is
Hector
Lavoe?
Hector Lavoe?
Oh, you know
What do you
my
mean?
Hector
El
Lavoe?
Cantante. What are you talking about?
El Cantante. And my
Hello.
thing with him is
Hello.
his #1 song, El Cantante, he's talking about, he go to the show, he perform for everybody. Everybody look at him and tell him he got it made and everything. But nobody asks him, how's he doing? And what pain he's going through.
Right.
And what things he had to go through. And that's why I love him so much. You know, and the last question, Faith, and we get out of here. What are your top 5 favorite R&B singers of all time?
Oh, that's so difficult.
Yeah, that's why we asked it.
Well, that's a hard one to do off the top of my head.
Who's your 5 favorite?
But male, female, like, oh God, that's very hard.
I'll give you both. I'll give you 5. You can pick.
But I it's hard. It's very hard.
You can't do it.
I can't give you a top nothing, cause
Let me ask you a question.
Then I'll be like, oh damn, but
I'm gonna ask you a question I asked Patti LaBelle. My favorite singer of all time, my favorite female singer of all time is Stephanie Mills. That's who my mother and my aunt used to be cleaning the house to, rocking. That's my girl, right? But my favorite singer of all time is Luther Vandross. Rick Ross says Teddy Pendergrass is his favorite, and Spike Lee says Marvin Gaye is the best vocalist. All 3 of them we think is the best. So I give you 1 out of the 3. Which one you think is the best, has the best vocals out of those 3?
See, I was gonna say Stevie Wonder.
Oh, look at that shit. So listen, yo, babe,
out of those
the
3,
4th one.
Out of those 3, you said Marvin, who?
Marvin, Luther, and Teddy.
Oh, well, it would certainly be. I would choose Marvin, but Luther was a more of a. And I didn't get to be in Marvin's world. He probably was as well. But I know Luther was just such a genius with the whole productions of his shows. And his whole team was just tight, like a arranging genius, a writing genius. But Marvin, just something about the way he just had this little thing that little oil he put on it. Like, I don't know. I think Marvin.
You know, I speak to Spike Lee. I said, Spike Lee, my favorite is Luther. He looked at me, he go, really? It's not Marvin Gaye.
I would give them a tie for different reasons, but the reason Marvin would have that one is because he just, you know, it was a little bit more of a little, you know, what do you call it? Like, you know, it just had a little bit more just, you know, machismo on that thing right there.
Hey, yo, Faith, listen, man, we love you. I thank you for coming on the show. You know, God bless you, your family. We're going to keep cheering you on. We're going to keep championing you. We're going to keep streaming your music. Shout out to my brother, Stevie J. That's my guy. Many years.
Yes.
And he knows I love him. That's my brother. I know he crazy, but fuck it. It is what it is. But we love y'all two together. We love y'all. And thank you for coming on the big show, Faith.
Thank you for having me. Thanks to all of your supporters for tuning in. And shout out to all my faithfuls. Y'all know when I get talking, I don't even be looking at those things, but I see them on there. So thank y'all for logging in. And thanks for having me again, Fat Joe. And
Thank
give
you,
your
Faith.
wife my regards. You know, she's always been super cool every time I see her. So much love.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Faith.
All right.
Bye-bye.